So in today's sessions, we're gonna learn something about the hidden features in the Maya, and with the different way we can create the new kind of the animations with the help of the nCloth, Maya Mesh, and what are the different features are available in Maya. So we'll start. For an example, first I'm gonna show you, like, if in my scene there is a cloth and there are the leaves are on the floors. Once my cloth fall down, or it's just moving with the wave, so the leaf has to be do the animated, right? So what I'll do as a reference, what I'll do, I'll create one this plane over here. I'll just make a duplicate of that, right? I'll just make nearby 6 or 7 different duplicate together, and I'll go to my top view. I'll just move these things over here. If you want to make more copy of that, it's up to you. Just we can just spread out a little bit more. If this is my the different leaf or the bunch of the leaves together, so I'll select all of them. I'll go to the polygon modeling. Here we have the some shortcut kits: delete history, center pivot, right? So what I'll do, instead of all this different element, I will add into one. So I'll go to modeling, mesh, combine. So that will become one object. That's become my one object, right? I'll give this the name also just for the reference, because it's always be a good process if we'll give the name to our object. If this is my leaf, so what I'll do, I'll create this time a cloth. So for that, this is simple plain. I'll just scale it up. Always when we are applying a cloth, we always have to give the good amount of the segment, right? Again, delete history, center pivots, and this is my cloth. So if you'll see in your outline, we have the leaf and we have the cloth over here. So object is created. Now I'll apply the cloth attributes to it. For that, what I'll do, I need to go to my FX menu. In FX menu, we have nCloth, nHair, nConstraint, Catch, Fluid Solvers, Effects, Bifrost, Mesh. That we can get it into the FX menu. For applying the cloth, we have to go to the nCloth. So we have these options over here. I'll select both of them, this plane, and I'll apply nCloth. So when I've applied the nCloth, if I'll play over here, if you'll see, everything is falling down, right? By default, the gravity is already assigned to it. So I'll select the leaf. I'll go to its attribute editor. We'll go to the nucleus. See, when I have applied nCloth to our object, here we can see the attributes have added into our outliner also, nCloth 1, nCloth 2, and we have the nucleus. This nucleus will be the common. So I'll select my nucleus. In the nucleus, we are getting the option ground plane. So that means what, if I turn on this option on, if I'll start and play now, right here you can see this is the dynamic movement we have got in our cloth. Select and move simply. Right here you can see my leaf is not falling down because I have given the origin x, y, z, 0, 0, plane normal 0, 1, 0, right? I am not given the bounce movement also because I do not require any bounce movement. But if you see, this cloth is falling down. Instead of the falling down, what I'll do, I'll just rotate this, or before that, what I'll do, I need to create one transform, right, where my vertex, all these above vertices get locked or stay on the same area. So I need to go to my vertex mode, select the vertices where you want to be a no movement. We have n constraint. Now what is the meaning of the constraint? We are giving command to our vertices that the movement will not affect. So I'll just say transform constraints over here. Just click on that. Here you can see that node is added over here, right? Dynamic constraints. So also we have the property over here, spring, all first, component editors, trend. Now if I'll start and play, stop and play, here I can see it is not falling down. This is a transform. In n constraint we have transform constraint. Now what I'll do, I'll just select all this and just make it rotate, and I'll put into my, where is the locators over here, select and see, just move that specific area. Now here you will see this is a falling down. Now this is going really very slow mo. I'll increase my timeline. Whenever we are doing any dynamic animation, we always have to increase the timeline duration, because everything is working on the real time, and instead of that make it the 400. Now there are some the modification which I required to need on my clothes. So first of all, we'll select the nucleus again, right? In that same gravity in the wind options, when I'll go down here, we have the speed options. If I'll say scale attribute, there are the different features. First is a translate XYZ, gravity and the wind, how much gravity. If you'll see, this is automatically falling down because the default gravity is 9.8. Air density we have, if I'll increase the air density, start and play over here. Wind speed, if I want to see, if I'm making any flag kind of things, I can do that. So this is also get animated over here. So as of now, I do not require any changes which do the automatically, right? So it's going really very slow. What I'll do, I'll select and go down. Here we have the scale attribute. Here you can say space scale. By default, it always be a 1. So I'll change into 0.1. That means the speed, duration of that scales get little bit higher, right? It will be a little bit more faster. By default, it was 1 over here, 1. And if I say 0.1, start and play over here, see this? Great. Now, what I'll do, if you'll see, when my cloth is falling down, there are no movement to my left, right? So what I'll do, I'll select my cloth over here. I'll go to the nCloth shape one. Here we have wind, fill, and generations. See, in nucleus, we have the different attributes. Nucleus is the common, like now cloth 1 and cloth 1 and 2 have the same nucleus. Whenever we'll create anything, here you can see the nucleus always be added, right? So what I'll do, I'll again select my cloth over here and go to the nCloth shape one. Now what proper different attributes we have? We have collide. Is my cloth will collide with each other or not? That is into the self collide. Here we can see a collision flag, but I'm not able to see that. For that, what I'll do, we have the solver display. Solver display means how this cloth is affecting to its vertex, to its face, to its edge. I'll just say click on this and the stretch collisions, self collision thickness. We have stretch links, bend links, weightings. By default, its solver display is off. So I'll click on the say self collision thickness. Here you can see this something came by vertex to vertex. Here you can see now this is affecting on the vertexes over here. If I want to change into collision thickness, if you'll see how much the collision thickness is there, here we also have this property. I can increase and decrease that as well as per my requirement. Slowly we'll start to understand. We'll use this into the different object when we are creating. So as of now, I do not record any self. This is the self only over here. If I go down, we have the options, bounce and the friction. Frictions means if this cloth is colliding with any other object, so it will stick over there. frictions, what kind of the amount it will take on that stiffness, that is the we call the frictions over here. If I'll go down over here, as of now I require the wind fill directions, because this cloth is falling down, though this leaf has to be do the movement. If I'll start and move, here you can say as of now it is not moving because my air push distance and air push velocity is 0. So what I'll do, I'll increase it, make it nearby 10. I'll just start and play over here. See, it started to slowly move. If I'll increase more, if I'll do the 100, I'll stop and again start from my play these options. See, here I'm getting a little bit more movement over here, but this is moving only in the ground, right? So there are no air push velocity in that. So I'll make it by 1, start and play over here. See, it started to move. Here you can see this is a little bit going up and down. If I'll make this into a 3, start and again I'll play over here. So this is already moving upstairs. So there has to be some value between 1 or 3. I'll make this into a 2, start and play. So this is moving again. So just this is going into the forwards. I'll put it 1.5, 1.8. So that is depending upon the value, what kind of the value we are giving to these our characters. I'll try to reduce into a 50 now at push distance. Put 50 now, start and play. See, this has started to move this, right? So again, simply what I've did, I've created this simple one object over here. FX nCloth, my leaf also be the nCloth, then automatically nucleus will come in our outliners. In the nucleus, we need to turn on this use plane over here. We are not changing any property over here. Select the cloth. Go down, we have the wind fill generations. So this is the basic setting which I have did. So I can easily create, every dynamic kind of the animations to this. If I'm applying if I'm showing there is a leaf in below the tree structures, and some kind of the dynamic movement I want to do, I can do that as well also, right? So that was the first tip. If you are using this cloth and if you want to do this kind of the movement with the help of wind filled generations, just to this property we need to do the modifications, right? So we'll change it into something different now. What I'll do as of now, if I want to create a play blast, we always suggest the students to do a play blast, because play blast is very easy to see what kind of the camera movement we have given, what will be the time durations. So there are some setting we always do for the play blast. First, I'll go to my render global setting because it is always connected with the play blast. If I'll go down, I'll just change. If I've added camera into my scene, I can select over here. If this is a perspective, it is okay. I'll change my preset something into a HD 1080. I'll just close this. Right click. We have play blast and we have the play blast options over here. Now I'll go to my play blast options. By format show ornaments view, we have render off screen. If I'll click on this render off screen, then once this play blast is going on, I'm not able to see in the time durations. I'm not able to see in my time slider that my play blast is started. Now why I have did into the render setting, because here is the option we call from the render settings. So from the render setting, it will take the output size of the quality. Now scale we have, if I'm using from the window, you can reduce it the scale. It's approximately give us the little bit low quality. If I'll put into a low value, if I'll put it 1, it give me a good quality. Remove temporary files, save to the file path where you have projected or your file is saved, As of now, I'll saving into the my desktops over here, and I'll just type this is a my cloth underscore 1, enter. So when we talk about the format, we have the AVI format, right? There are the different encoding formats are there which give the size of the play blast. If I say image sequence, you want into a GIF, RA, TIFF, SIG, Maya, JPEGs, right? And as of now, I'll say QT, QTime. When I click over here, we are getting a more options over here for the animations you want. Yes, quality is also there, scaling is also there. Click on this play blast. Now here you will see, now I am my timeliner. I can see in my Maya viewport or the time slider, the play blast is going on. It will automatically play automatically once it is finished the process. This is very simple process. We can apply the the lift material to our object. We can apply the cloth to this. Now if I want to use a fan, how I can use that? So I need to make to a passive collider, but we'll see that now. First you say this is the play blast. Here you will see I'm getting the really good quality play blast over here. Now what I'll do, if I just select this, the leaf part over here, and I'll put it into the my attribute editor. I'll hide that. I've created that layer. I'll hide it. Now stop. Now instead of this going up, so what I'll do, this is just a normal. I'll make this to a 0. I'll pull it down and just pull it over here. So here you'll see we are just getting a name, normally only the cloth movement over here. Now if I've created a fan in my scene, I'll just do a scale little bit. I'll pull it up. D is a shortcut key to move the pivot point, D, right? I'll select and say center pivot point, delete history, freeze transformations, again D, pull it over here. Now if I want to do the movement to my rotate Z, right? So we'll use expressions. Expression is also a way to create the key or the keyframes to our objects. Now what is the meaning of the expressions, right? Expression is where we can apply in Maya. There are already some is called MEL, Maya embedded language. Python language is also there. With the help of simple syntax or with the property, we'll do the animations. So where we'll find that expressions over here. First what I'll do, I'll create one cube over here. Now what I want, if I'm doing the animations to my character, I'll just normally do shift plus or the set key. If I'm pressing a set key, that key will come to all of my object. If I'm pressing shift W, only keyframe to the translate. If I'll press shift W, shift E, then rotation, shift R, that the key automatically will come to my scale, correct? So, and if I'm using this we call the automatic the keyframes over here. Right click and say key selected over here, it is over there, and I'll move this over here. This is moving. Again right click in the key selected, start and play. Here you can see this movement is going on. Now what I'll do, I want to give the animation with the help of the expressions. So first of all, what I'll do, I'll say break connections. Right click and say break connections over here. Now expressions, what I'll do, I'll select my attribute from the my outline or anything, or I'll do the control A, polycube, right click, create new expressions, set key we have, set driver and driven key we also have, set new textures, lock attribute. If I'll select translate and say new expressions, this expressions editor will open, right? Translate, right click, create new expressions editors. So I do not require to all my translate. If I'll move my X, yes, I do want to in X, I'll say edit and add expressions. The same tab will get open over here. Now here you will see, I'll just copy whatever translate I have selected, it will show over here because we are writing expressions, the expressions to this object. Translate X, here you can see P is a small, C is always bigger. So that is a format which we need to understand. Polycube.1 translate X, Control C, paste over here, or I'll just select and drag and drop over here. If I do control and middle mouse scroll, I'm able to see my expression text a little bit much more bigger. So expression means what? Poly.cube.1 translate X. If I'll say time means my frame into 45. And if I'll say create. Now here you will see this come into different color. I'll go to my first frame. If I'll start and play, see this is going up. This is the automatically animation. Right click and say playback speed. Real time, start and play. See my expression is going automatically. The same expressions I can apply into my rotations. Now what I want, this have to rotate automatically. So right click and say break connections, translate in rotate X you want or rotate Z you want. There are multiple, the syntax or process where we can give the different kind of the movement. Now expressions we can apply to our particle systems, object, character, or when we are doing, controllers or for the rigging. That time we can apply into the fluids. Wherever we can see the animated, the keyframe where we can apply on the same, we can apply expressions. Now if I'm applying into the rotate Z edit expressions, I'll just drag and drop equal to time. If I'll say divide, again this works as a mathematical calculation. Say it's a 45, edit cross, this is applied over here. If I'll rotate over here, say this is not going into them. Divided by, if I'll say edit expressions, time into 45, edit, close, rotate. Here you can say my one frame, this is rotating into the 45. Edit expressions, now divide by 30. So this the maths calculations what we are doing into the normal. Here you can see this is a slowly going on but very slow process, right? So again edit expressions. So if I want to apply these same expressions over here, now what I'll do, just if want to do this animation, if I'm making this kind of the fan movement, whatever I'm do change, it will apply on this cloth, right? So what I'll do, I'll select this. I have not done till the animations. Rotate Z. So there are some presets which I already written over here. We use shin.time into 10 into the 50. Now sine, cos, the tangent, those all are mathematical calculations. If I'll say edit expressions, drag and drop over here, equal to our expression, always we have to apply after the equal to. Edit close. Now here you can see this is automatically going up and down. Now why sine, right? Because what I want, this will go up and down. That's why I written the time. Then I've written into the time. Time means my frame will go, it will into do 10. Then 0.50, it will go down. Then the same, it will come up. That's why I use the sine over here. Edit expressions. If I'm not applying sine over here, just edit an expressions, start and play. So this will rotate. So if I want to do the vice versa animations, right, whatever the amount I've given, I always add over here sine. Edit, close and play. Now this is not applying over there. So what I'll do, I'll select my nCloth. And if I'll do this passive collider, select and play over here, this is not affecting. So I'll just select my cloth. Again, I'll go to its attribute editor. Select this. Rainfall generation, here you can see. Now this time apply whatever property I've applied to my cloth. The same will apply over here. So by 50 and 1. So I can do change as per my requirement, start and play, right? If I'll put into a more something by 150, see the movement, air push velocity, make it 2. Again stop, click over here, start and play. If this is the stretching, this stretch is showing so much. So what I'll do, I'll select my nucleus. We have the speed scale value, make it 0.5. Now start and play. Make it 1. Again go to the stop. So what I'll do, I'll just try to drag that little bit more. See this movement? So if I'll select this cloth over here, distance if I'll put into 300, what your CD, I'll just try to increase more. See this now? So this is with this simple way we can achieve the requirement. Again, I'll reduce this into 2. See, there are no always particular value where we can apply, because if I'm using this value because my distance xyz of this object is here, that's why I'm putting this value. In your scene it will be the different, in my scene it will be the different, right? So that was the first concept. With the expressions we can do. Now I'll just make something new. So now in this scene, if I'm making any roller coaster to my object, I'll just try to scale this. Like you already have seen into the cloth mill, there are lots of machines are there, which just a little bit more. I'll just put different colors to on my these edges, so that way I can understand. I'll select this two, shift and select this two, and I'll apply assign new material form, and I'll go to the form, click over here, and I'm applying this yellow material. So now I'll see that how much the rotations we have to apply. Now what I want this has to be the rotate, right? So what I'll do, rotate Z, edit, expressions, drag and drop over here, equal to time into 45, edit cross. So this is rotating, right? If you want to make a little bit faster, expressions, if I'll say 45 and I'll make it into a 90 and semicolon, edit and close, start and play. Here you can see this is rotating. Cool. So I'll just delete this also, like center pivot point or everything. Cool. Now what I'll do, I'll create one cloth over here. So as of now, I'll pull this up, cloth, scale little bit, and I'll just try to drag over here. I'm putting it a little bit more closer. In previous, we have seen in constraint into a transform. Here we'll say a point on the surface, right? So first of all, we have to give the good amount of the segment. Now, if you'll see, when I'll do drift sliding, I'm able to add the good amount of the segments to my object, or I'll select and rotate over here. So I'm with the help of the slide also possible. Now here you can see, here we have the speed. If I'll reduce it, if I'll just make it, here you can see I'm not going that much fast which I was going to. Here I'm going to see very one segment. Here you can see on my segment I'm not do that much fast, because my speed is low over here. Here I'm adding the more speed. So this is the speed controller. I'll just try to bring it that little bit more. I'll scale a little bit more, or I'll put into the width area a little bit more. This is so much, so I'll reduce that into speed, just drag it down. Now what I require, once my cloth need to attach with this roller, because this roller is going down, this is rotating. So I'll increase my frame over here, or I can make this into a 300. I'll select my object, give this segment. If that is not working, we have to give the value over here. It's always do into the wireframe model, hide your grid. Now what I'll do first, I'll select this object and say nCloth. So nucleus will add to my outliner. I'll select this ruler and say this will be my passive collider, right? So this become my passive. Now what I'll do, there has to be the some kind of the attachment of your cloth to your passive object. So I'll go to my vertex mode. I'll select the vertex which we need to attach. Shift select your object and constrain point on surface. Now if I start and play, here you will see that cloth is moving to my objects. Now where will get the problem, once this one full roll will get over, one rotation will get over, here we can see the previous cloth thickness will be the high. Now here you will see, now see this is a little bit higher thickness. As I already shown you, there are some feature in that. I'll select my cloth, go to attribute editor. Here we have the options. First, collision is the face and the vertex, self collisions. Now here you will see this vertex is collision with the vertex, correct? If I'll click and say self collision thickness, I'm able to see this vertex. I can increase and decrease my vertex size. See, I'm increasing that. Now if I turn that off and I'll start and play, now here you will see that will little bit more distance between this. This is not look real because here you can see there is a gap, right? So how we can do that with that? So again, as I already told you, self collision thickness we can increase and decrease that as well. By default it is 0.69. Now collision flag, face is there, vertex is there, and the edge is there. This is really very important. First we'll select the vertices, face is there because we want our face need to interact with that. Self collision flag, I'll change into, if I'll change into the vertex edge, here you can see this all edges are come over here. So here we'll see the collision different will be there. See this? They all are colliding with each other. If I'll change this into, let me stop this. Stop. If I'll change into vertex face, here you can say one face for all vertices. Here again I can increase and decrease. This is what we are looking if we are doing this roller coasters. Right? I'll just try to reduce as per my requirement, but there has to be the good amount of the segment. If I'll say off, if I'll start and play now. So here we can find, here we are getting a little bit more convinced, the self collisions with this cloth. But if you are making this kind of the movement to your cloth, this is a simple process you can do. This is what we are seeing into the films as well. Here you can see now this is colliding with each others as well. So again, if you think so, you have to give a little bit more segment to this. So just make it 10 over here. Again, go to the play, go play in this area. So if you are making this kind of the movement, we need to change this self collisions or this whenever we have required. I've used this vertex full in previous. We have used the full surface, but this time we'll use vertex face. If I'll say self collision thickness, see the moment, the effects which I'm getting over here, this is more convinced and the realistic. I'll make this off. If I need to see the collision thickness, right? Go to the again frames, again steps. Here we have the frictions. If I'll increase the frictions amount, here you will see it will not come out. So there are multiple, the mathematical calculation we need to understand that. Play over here. It's a little bit more close to this. The same way I can apply if I want to use the bounciness to my different objects. I'll just close this, control new, do not save over here, turn on the grid. Now what I'll do, I'll just rotate this. If this is my bar over here, I'll just select, shift, duplicate, and just one more. I'll select, delete history. I'll go to my mesh modeling and I'll select this is the combine. This is just everything is the one object. Now what I'll do, I'll create a one cloth over here. See, we are using a different process to understand what are the different features are available, because within a very short time we are getting the very good result. I'll select and just drag it, increase my speed, need to increase, right? I'll just move this, select your object, go to the FX, cloth and cloth. If I'll start and play, I'll increase the my time durations, play over here, this will fall down. So I'll just select my vertices, select the vertex, now constrain, transform. Now if I let the transform, node will get over here. I'll select my object, set key. You just need to cross that, set key. Now if you start and play, my cloth wheel is moving. Now here you can see this has started to become a Superman kind of the flag, right? By default, stretch value is so much, attribute editor, nucleus 1. If I'll go scale attribute, if it is 1, make 0.1. Now here you will see it will started to get that effect. Now here we can see this is not colliding because I need to select this and give passive. Start and play. Here you can see this will get bounce. See, this is colliding with this. This is also will get collide over here, right? So now what we'll do, now here we have this some more options. We'll go select the nucleus. We'll go up. Here we have the solver attributes, means how it will solve in one frame. By default it is a 3. Let's increase into a 6. Maximum collisions interactions, this will be the double. If you'll see, this is really, if this cloth is moving very rubber kind of stuff, so what we can do, we can collisions property dynamic. Here we have the stretch resistance. I'll try to reduce it into a 10. Start and play. Here you'll see we are getting this movement over here, then it will collide on that object. If I'll make this into 200, let's stop this and again play over here. See, I'm not, now there are very less percentage my cloth shape. What is my actual shape of my cloth is not changing, right? So with the stretch resistance, we can do that. We also have the bend resistance. If you do not want our cloth bend so much, I can click and change the value as per my requirement. let's make this to a a little bit more stretch, only the 100. Now see, now if I'll select my object here, we also have the attributes which are my passive collider. They do also have the property of the bounciness. If I'll increase my bounciness 100% or 1%, just stop and get. After once my cloth collide with this, it will get more bounce. It's like this. This is my end rigid shapes over here. I'll get bounce, make it 100. Stop. Here you will see now. See, this will get bounce. So secondary movement I'm getting on my cloth. But this is, you'll see, with the simple tricks we can create as per the requirement. We can create the anything with this cloth modifications. Now if I want to make jelly kind of stuff, right, the so I'll just create the new for in my scene. I am just creating this simple one cube. I'll just drag it over here, select this, and I'll duplicate of this object, select, freeze transformation, delete history. This is better. I always like to do with this because everything is the normal if I'm doing the animation. So first of all, what I'll do, set key to my objects. Let me increase this time durations. If I'll go to the 40 frame, this will come down. Set key, again select this, again this going up. Start and play. Oh, I have not added over here. Now select and the set key over here, select and play. Okay, cool. So what I'll do, I'll create one sphere to my object and a little bit increase the radius or the segment as per my requirement. A little bit more. Again, delete history, freeze transformations, everything. Now what I want, my this ball has to become like the jelly, right? It has to become a action after this box is collide with this. So what I'll do, I'll select this to box, cloth, passive collider, select this, cloth, nCloth, start and play. See, now here you'll see this is by default, it's become like this, right? It's all the my vertices, all the my segments values become the 0. So what I'll do, I'll select my object. First, I'll go to my first frame, go to its attribute editors, my nucleus one. In this, we have the property. Just 1 minute. This, select my object, and I'll go and shape. nCloth shape 1. Here we have the property of the stickiness. If I'll by default giving a 1 stickiness, start and play over here. Oh, first is I need to give some the bend resistance to this. Stickiness is there. Bend resistance is this here. So I'll make this to a 50. Now my ball will not change its shape. It will get bounce. See this? Now here you can see this is colliding because this has become my secondary object, right? Here you'll see. Again select this, bend resistance. If my bend resistance is only 1, so this is slowly getting dissipates, like the balloon is finishing is the air inside. If I select this, make it 2, make it 10, again go to the start, first frame, start and play. See this? So as of now, I'm just applying this bend resistance nearby the 50 value. I do not want my this jelly object change its shape. I'll just play here. You can see, yes, this is effective. Now what we'll do, nCloth shapes, once we go down, we have the stickiness value. I'll select damp. I'm not using. If I want to make parachute kind of animation, I will change this damp value. If I want to make any parachute kind of animations, and I'll select go up. Yeah, stickiness here. Just make this to a 2. Select and play. See, this started to stick on my object. See, very simple, but this kind of the jelly kind of the movement I can do. So what I did, first I created this sphere. You can create your object as per your requirement. Make this into the nCloth. What modifications we have to do in the nCloth? We just need to give the bend resistance, so it will get little bend. Select your object, go to the nCloth shapes. Here we have the bend resistance over here. Then we need to give the stickiness value. Now what I required, if I select my passive, it also have the stickiness in that. If I select this, what I want after this tube is going up after the secondary actions, I'll just make stickiness into a 2. Now start, stop and play. Now my ball or this jelly object will try to stick with this because here I've given the higher amount. If I'm selecting this my object and just making 1.2, see, if I'm just reducing 0.2 value in that, it gives more variations. See here, we'll see that here some vertices will try to pull their own self. See this? Right? Fantastic. I'll make this 0.9. So select. So this is as per your creativity, how you want to do. I can increase the value over here, and if I'll make this into a 1, stop, go to the first frame, start and play. This get bounce. Correct. See now, this got stick with this my upper object. Right here you can see I'm getting a little bit more secondary movement to my object. Okay, so I hope this you understood. So we can give this kind of the movement with this. Now as I already told you, if I want to make a parachute kind of thing, so first of all I'll create this the shape of my plane, and then I'll go to the attribute editor. I'll increase this segment somewhat nearby this. Now nCloth, I'll create this as my cloth object over here. So before that, what I'll do, I'll again select history. I'll select the vertices. I'll select the center. B for the soft selections. B, press B, drag and drop. Here we'll get the modifications. Here we can change the radius and the size of that. Okay, I'll again select the middle this. B, just drag more area will get in this. Right, this is as per your requirement. So what I'll do, now here we'll create one locator as well. Locator. Now why I have created this locator, I will do animation to this character locator. Select, set key 200. This will go down. Set key. Now here you will see this locator is going down. Now what I want, whatever transform locator, transform constraint I'm going to do, I will simply attach with that. So I'll go to vertex mode. I'll try to select B to on and off. I do not require smoothness, control and space bar to maximize the viewport. And as of now, I'll just select this much of area. This is my object, fx, and say transform component. This is not added over here. Oh, this is not the cloth object as of now. Select cloth, create cloth, select the vertices, which is already there, constraint, transform, it's already there. Yes, it's came. The same side I will do for this side. Vertices, select this, select this, select this. Again, the fx, constraint, transform, vertices, select this, transform, and the same. Now, if you are thinking why I'm creating for all this side, because if I'm making it to the manually, it is really very simply way. Now, as of now, what I'll do, I'll select all this and drag into the locator. Now, if I start in play, here you can see my movement I'm able to get over here. But here you can see after the sometimes this is going into the different directions. So for that, what I'll do, I'll select my object, attribute editor, again simply always cloth. Let's see which part is selected, and cloth shape one we have. We'll try to reduce the scale. Let's close all this. We'll select the nucleus. Let's close this. Scale attribute will made. This is a mandatory changes what you have to do for each and every the movement. See here we am getting a little bit more realistic movement. Now here you can see this is going in this way. Again start and stop. So what I'll do, I'll select my object, go to the nCloth shapes. Here we have the drag property. I'll say dynamic property. As already told you, there is a one drag. This is the drag. This is by default, it is a 0.5. I'll reduce into 2, select and play over here. See here, I'm not now my this object will not change. If I'll reduce it into the 0, here we can see the moments got changed over here. So this we can use for the any we can attach this kind of the net which to the helicopter or the string the movement what we want to do. So drag is the property where we can do changes. Again, go to the property, start and play. If I'll select now, I'll go to the nucleus and this time I will change into my speed scale into 0.2. Start and play. Here you can see we are getting a little bit more the stiffiness. If we want to give the wind movement, right? Wind kind of the movement we need to do. This is the for the collisions. Dynamic properties, go down. Wind fill generations, air push distance view, air virtuosity we have to give, select and just play over here. Right here you can see we are able to change, increase the distance. I'll select my nucleus one, stop. I'll go up, we have the air and densities. Not the air component. nCloth shapes. Ground, we are not using a ground for this. nCloth shapes, force field. Mass, if I'll increase my, this has become more weight to our object. If I'll reduce this, see, correct? So this is the simple property which can create kind of to the our nCloth. So there are different property we can do. Now we'll see now something into the dynamic. If I'm making any pulley or other weight stuff, how I'll do that? First, I'll create the ground base to my object. If this is my weight, I'll just a little bit increase this object over here. I'll put this to a little bit up. Select both of them. Delete history, center pivot point. Now what I'll do, I'll create this small ball. Let's pull it up this way. I pull this aside. This will come up. So now what I'll do, I'll create one pulley system. Make a cylinder. Make a scale. Pull its scale a little bit down. Pull this up. Go to the perspective. Maximize your view. Mesh tool, insert edge loop. Select this face. Scale, shift scale, extrude, shift scale, shift scale. Again, select delete history by frozen this. Want to make it a little bit smaller. Shift this, drag it up. Freeze transformation, delete history. If I go to my attribute editor, pull it down. I'll create one cube over here, which give support to this pulley systems. Just reduce this, pull this over here. If I see in my side view, this is get a bit more attached. You can reduce, you can do modifications as per your requirement. Shift, drag it over here. Right, this is one of my pulley where I'll create now thread, a rope which will pass from this to this object. Create, or we can go to the create curve. We have this curve over here. This 1, 2. Just it will come on this particular area. And this time this will connect to this. Press enter. Now here you'll see, before do anything we need to see our this line feature has to be a proper. Otherwise what will happen, our rope will not work correctly. So after creating this, what we'll do, we'll give, I'll again go to my this history, delete center pivot, curve 1 is there. I'll go to the curve and rebuild curve, because here we'll give the segment, apply closed. Now here you'll see something curve is not came proper. Let me do it just one more time. Create CV curve, edit reset tool. Maximize your this view. This 1, 2. Just pull it away. If the CV curve is not working properly, let the reset. 1, 2. Select the go to the vertices, select this. make it wireframe. Select again, make this into the wireframe, go down, just pull this up, pull this down. This vertices, if I'll select this, make a little bit this distance. Okay, let's object mode, curve, rebuild curve. So all the vertices are divided into the equal distance. Again, modify center pivot point, try to do in that way. Now we'll go to the FX. In FX, in here, we have option is called make selected curve dynamic. When I'll go to that option, this is the default property NURBS curve. Say make more dynamic. If I'll stop and play this, increase your frame. Here you can see it started to get fall. So I'll select this, cloth, passive, play, this get bounce, right? So as of now, what I'll do, I'll hide my original curve. I'll just drag this. I'll create this, hide that. If I'll start and play, this is again going down. So I'll select my pulley, shift, select this. Again, I'll give this to a passive, start and play. See, this will get good movement, right? It's not falling down. Now why this end of my vertex, right? This is get hope by default. Here we have point lock both ends. If I'll say no attach, now here you'll see this is not attaching now. If I'll say base, start and play, my base is attached now. If I'll say tip, select and click over here, see now my tip is attached now, and this is the both end. Now stop over here and play. Now my both ends is attached over here, but for this I do not required to attach. I want no attachment because I want this end has to attach with this. This vertices end has to attach with this weight box, right? That's what I require. So what I'll do, I'll select that and say point lock. I do not require attach on that. Okay, now what we can do, now we'll select the point on the surface. I'll select the vertices. I'll go a little bit down, zoom over here, select this, shift, select your object, constraint, point on surface, right? If you'll start and play now, perfect. Now what I want, it has to be movement to my this object, right? So I'll make this object nCloth. So now what we'll do, if I'll create an nCloth, this will get fall down, right? See this? So if you see, this is not a heavy object over here. So what I'll do, after creating to any object or cloth, when we go to the preset, we have the much more, different presets are available where we can do, you want to make it into the concrete, say replace all the property by default. So it's become a concrete over here. Now what I'll do, I'll select to my end vertices over here. Now I'll select this object, go to the vertex mode, select the vertexes which you want to do, shift select this object and constraint point on surface, right? So what we'll do, if I start and play now, see, cool. Now if you see this rope is moving a little bit very lightweight or very rubber, so there are no stiffness to this, right? Control A attribute, I'll not save this, Control A attribute, Control A, we have the hair system. For that we have dynamic property, in dynamic property we have the stretch resistance. So by default it is a 2. If I'll make this to a 1, start and play little bit more, rubbery or spring. If I'll make this to a 5, 25, cool. 200, very tight. 100, little bit. See, this is the movement. If I'll make it a 500, right here you can see. So this way we can change the requirement. Now what I'll do, now I'll do animations to this my object. If I'll move this object, then automatically this has to come up. So select set key. This is already animated. In my 30 set key, between 30 to 35, this started to pull over here. Set key till 70 is there. Then after the 70, it again will come over here and set key. So my total duration is that 100 is there. I'll stop my auto key and start and play over here. See this? This has come out very fast. Now why that so happened? Because if you'll see, this has become a very fast animations. So I'll try to reduce it on a little bit slow. Say set key on this. I'll select my object, set key, between 240, set key, or 70 is just try to slow little bit, set key. I'll scale it between 70 to 200 is the same. Then after it is slowly coming down, set key. Turn that off, start and play this. Again, this become a very fast. Now, if you'll see, if I'm doing animations to any of my object, for an example, we need to understand the curve and the graph editor for that. If this is my object, I'm pressing, this is the set key, move this set key. Now here you will see this is the movement which I have given over here. Right, just try to reduce it till here. For that, what we need to do, we need to understand animations graph editor or the curve editor. Now if you see this object which we have created or given the animations to keyframe, this is coming this way. If you'll see this, right? Now why that so? Because if I'll say window, animation editor, graph editor, see this translate X is the reason why this is going into this direction. This is going into the minus. Now why that so? Because if I'll make this into a linear, right, I'll select and just delete that key. Here you can see that. Now I'll not get that movement. See now, this is the movement like which I was expected to do that. See this? Very simple, very easy to achieve this kind of the movement. So what I've created, first I created this object, this setup, created a curve, modeling, curve, rebuild curve. Then what I did, go to the FX, here, make selected dynamic curve. It has to be the NURBS curve because we are using the NURBS curve in that. If I see that property over here, follicle in point lobe, we'll selected no attach. Then we have selected the end of this vertex and this object. Constraints, point on surface. This same object, point on surface. Voila, done. So if you see, this is very simple way we can achieve the result, whatever we have required. Now, if I want to make this, a curve into a little bit curve, I'll just create the curve over here. I'll reduce this scale. C, snap to curve. Here you can see C is snap to curve. If you find it's too much radius, reduce it, reduce more. Shift, select this curve. Go to the modifier, surface, mesh, not this extrude, surface extrude. If I'll do the reset here, you can see we will use at path or component. Why? Because our this line or the wire or the rope which I'm creating has to come on this curve. Add path, add component, apply close. Now if you see, this is a little bit bigger rope. I'll select my nerve circle, try to reduce. Right here you can see this can be the rope. Now always, because this is what we are doing into a nerves, right? So what I'll do, I'll select my object over here, modifier, convert to. When I'm converting on this, it always be into a chords and count. If I'll do reset, this is by default property. If I'll say chords and count, I'll reduce it and I'll increase it nearby 800 count. So I'll get little bit more chord pads, object, extruded surface. If I'll put this into again to a new layer, I'll select my extruded surface, nerves to poly, assign new material, or we can change the shape, again the nerve circle, reduce it little bit or decrease as per your choice. So this way we can create the rope, this which also has Alt and V is a shortcut key to play in the maximize view. Alt and V, stop, play, stop, play, right? Okay, so let me maximize this view, Alt and V. Again, I'll stop my animations. I can do the lighting as per the textures. File new scenes over here. Again, stop and close. Now, what we'll do if I want to create, if my car is animated, if I want to make any kind of the track or kind of the, it's getting effect on my snow subject or any objects, right? So what I'll do, that is very simple. I guess you already have did, but I'll just created this my plane over here. I'll go to its attribute editor, select, just drag it more, delete history. If I'll reduce, I'll make this object as some kind of the tires movement, select. We need to see it has to, somehow some points has to be get effect on this ground. Again, delete history, center pivot point, set key, rotation X, right? So this time what I'll do, I'll give the expressions, edit expressions, rotate X equal to time into 90, create. Oh, this is already animated, so I need to select and break connection first. I'll select everything in the break connections for the rotate X. Edit expressions, select copy paste, equal to time into 90. Previously it was showing error because that was the animated, so at the same time it will not take the two property of that. So this is the animated. If you want to increase the more, edit expressions, give the more amount over here, 125 or 35, then semicolon on it, click on this, start and play. If this is the my car animations, right? If I want to do that, so first of all what I'll do, that I need to make this a soft body. Now why soft body? If you see over here, I want whenever my tire is connecting with this particular area, so kind of the the trace movement has to be done, correct? So what I'll do, I'll select my object, FX, and particularly here we have the soft body. Now if I'll click the soft body here, you'll say we have the three options. Now what exactly soft body will do? Soft body will create particles to all my single vertex, right? So what I want, I do not want to make this a soft. I want duplicate make copy soft, duplicate make original soft. So in make soft, there are no other options we have. And when we talk about this duplicate make copy soft, we have the options. Hide non-soft object means which do not have the particle, hide that. Make non-soft a goal. Goal is really very important, which attract to particle. What kind of the movement will need to give on this particle, that time the goal is there. Then we have duplicate make original soft. So we'll use make a copy soft. I do not want my original has to be soft. Weight 0, apply and close. Now here you will see automatically we have created one particle or object, because in particle system there was the option is called duplicate. So it created a duplicate of our plane, plus it has created the particle system of our object. So what I'll do, I'll select my particle system and shift, I'll select this object and say collide. Start and play. Here you can see wherever my tire is crossing that particular area, this is going down, right? We are not able to get the trace effect in this. Now why that so? Because there are no property to provide to this particle to conserve. So I'll select my particle system. Once I'll go to its attribute editor, copy of the particle shape 1. So if you'll see in the particle shape 1, there are many options and the properties are available. We can apply expressions to these characters also, and especially when we talk about the particle, we are using the random RE and the rand particle for that. But as of now, what I'll do, I'll put my conserve value as 0. If I'll start and play again, see here you can see I'm able to see that movement over here. So what I'll do, I'll select this tire and just pull it a little bit more down. Set key. I'll just select and put the set key. See this here, I'm getting a little bit more effects to my object. Now this is we can use for the snow. We need to assign the material for that. But when we are using any kind of the liquid, if our car is passing through a liquid or any mud objects, so what we have to do, after some time it has to come into the reshapes. To here our goal properties is gonna come. I'll select my particle shape 1. If I'll go down over here, when we see into a goal weight, here we'll see gold weight, which by default was 0. If I'll make that into 1, now what will happen after some time, or it getting effect only the where that object is colliding. Here you can see, because my goal weight is 0. If I'll make this goal weight a 0.5, start and play. Now after a few seconds or after a few times, see this is converting in that. If I'll reduce it more or less 0.2, here you will see it is coming into the little bit more shape. See, so this is the power where we are seeing into the films or into our games. Start and play. See this, it's again coming into that same by its default shape. So what we have did, we've created object, particle, soft body, duplicate make of softy, hide non-soft object, make non-soft goal, and weight has to be the 0. I've selected my particle. Conserve value is 0. If my conserve is not 0, this particle will fall. See, this is coming in different way. See, this has become the wave movement, because here we have the goal movement. It's becoming, the wake movement when we are seeing into the fish shape. I'll just put this into a 0. I'll go down and my conserve is 0.5. Try to reduce little bit more, so it becomes slowly. So it's depending upon your value which we are applying over here. Now here you will see my track is getting disappear in this, right? Okay. Now we'll see now what are the camera projections property. I can create my scene with the camera projections. So for that, what I'll do, I'll create one simple one camera in my scene. I'll pull it up, pull into this side, panel, perspective, camera view. Go to the view, image plane, import image. So as of now, I'm using this image for the reference. See, if I'm using any projections with my camera, I need to adjust my perspective. Here you can see I need to match this edge with my perspective. I'll just select this, pull it this up. Because whatever I'll create with my object, right, it has to be little bit match in that particular area, right? Once you are happy with that, select camera, go to attribute, select, and the lock property. Now here you will see this is my camera. Once I've locked, I'm not able to move because I need to lock, because my grid is match with this, right? Plus, whenever you are using your camera view, camera setting always be into a film gate. Then only I'm able to see each and everything in my scene. View, camera, film gate. That's over here also. Again, go to the perspective. It's better be on the same camera. Let's create one plane. Let's make this to a segment 1. Scale it as per your requirement. Now what I'll do, shading X-ray mode. Select your edge, shift, scale as per requirement. We can spend whole day in this. So due to the time constraints, I'm just showing the simple process. So this will be my object over here. Once you have created this, go to the modeling, insert edge loop. For the window, I will create this. This we are making it into a. Now what we'll do, select the face, select and push little bit into for the depthness. Select this window, pull that little bit. I'm so sorry. We need to shift and extend little bit down inside. I'll go to my perspective. I'll just try to select the edges, select and little bit pull up. For the slant movement, perspective, camera 1 movement. Okay, this is done. Then what I'll do, select the histories and make the format in this. Right click, assign new material. This time we'll use the surface shaders. So I'll create the surface shader over here, out color, file. I'll directly do not click on the file. I'll do right click. Here we can use create as projections. Now click on that. It is asking which image. We have to use the same image which we have applied to our camera. Select and apply over here. Make it 5:6. Here you will see this is not coming as per our requirement. Now why that so? Because we need to use projected 9 perspective. But which perspective? We need to select the camera because that has to be with our camera, not the fill and the vertical type. See, if you'll see my scene is created. if I'll go to my perspective, I'll select go to the object mode. I'll remove the X-ray mode. See this? Very simple here we see because that was not our projected. But I can add my second camera. I'm so sorry. Camera group and delete. I do not want to use that. Create camera and camera. Perspective camera 1, so I can make my scene this much of the movement, right? Here you can see this is look like the 3D. So this is the power of the projections mapping. See, very simple process. I can add my object or create my camera, select this and move over here. Control A attributes. Now here you can see if I do attribute up and down, my view get change over here. I'm not able to see the proper view, right? See, this has become a maximize and the minimize. I'll come to that. I'll explain that also. But that is the with the help of the projections mapping. How I did, I've created one camera in my scene, view, import image. I've applied the image which I want to use. Then we need to fix our grid as per our reference image. Whatever you are seeing into the movie and the films, like this is with the help of very low poly we can create. As I already told you, we can spend full day to create each and every, like here this, with the help of extrude we can, pull this out. We can create the more details to over here. Then apply the surface shaders material to this. Apply the new material, surface shaders. Go to the outliner, file, create as a projections we need to use. Let's just apply to this, create projections. Two important property where we need to understand. First, we need to give the same reference image. If it is not proper, we need to select the project type. What kind of the project type? This perspective. But in perspective, we have used the camera. Select and say camera 1, fit fill. So this time we'll use vertical. Here you can see it will match as per our the film ratio, right? And we need to create the second camera if I need to give a movement. We will not use the same camera for that. Orthographics camera 3. Here you can see I can create from here to here this kind of the movement as per my scene demands. Or if I want to make movement over here. So that was with the camera projections. Now, if you'll see in Maya, there are two outliners are there. Now, why that's so? If I'm creating a new object, let me hide all of my objects into my outliners. Let's just try to drag it. Just create the new scene first of all. Try to drag it. Now, if you'll see, I've created many objects in my scene. I always click on my object, then my object will, if I'm pressing this cube, my cube will get, create over here. If I click on this torus, this will create over here. So what I'll do, I'll type into my mail, POLI, poly, S capital, polysphere, right? If I'll say up arrow, which last MEL script I've used, it will show me over here. So this has become my polysphere. This is already inbuilt script. If I'm just typing sphere, nerve spheres will come, right? So that's the with the help of script we can do. Now, if you'll see why in Maya, why the two outliners are there and how we can utilize these two different outliners. So let me Shift D, copy this, Shift D. Now here see, I have the multiple or duplicate in my scene. So what I'll do, I need to make my last object to my this object. So simply just drag and drop. If you'll see, this has become my parent of this. My 13 has to be drag and drop with this second sphere. So that way I can use my double outliner. That is really very easy. We do not always have to go scroll up and down. We can easily just directly do drag and drop to my object also. I'll select this. This will come into Polygon. If I'll move this, so this has become like that. So that's the benefit of the two outliners. Now if I just reset my view. Now here you can see we always have the sRGB in our scene. Now why that so? Because by default sRGB is our color mode in Maya. If I change into the log, let's create a little bit more object in your scene. If I just drag, pull it down, here you can see my skin viewport colors got changed at 1.18 gamma, 2.2 gamma, 20879 gamma, sRGB. If I'll say raw, now this is really very important when we are matching up our scene, or when we are using the HDRI light. The same setting we have into our, just 1 minute, I'll just move this. Go to the window, setting preferences. In preferences, when we go into the preferences, we have the color management. Let me reduce this. Here you'll see by default we have the sRGB. Whenever I'll open my scene in Maya, my viewport transform, my rendering and my viewport transfer color preference node will be this. If I'm using HDRI in my scene, I always have to use the raw file format because I do not want my HDRI to lose its quality. So I'll use, if I click in this raw, save, here you can see this has become my raw automatically. Again, I'll go to my setting preferences, color management. If I do not require, the raw format, I'll change into the sRGB. So this is really very important when you are changing your color mode as per your requirement. When you are using a 4K or 2K, sometimes what happens, my scene is not working, it's working really very jaggy movement. So what I'll do, I'll try to reduce its textures. First we'll see a little bit more what preferences in important points are there. Into the settings, we have the centimeter working unit. You want to work into the meter, centimeter. This is where you can change if you're making accurate architecturals, the designs. Here we can change animations. Now if you'll see, I always used, by default is always be auto. Now if I'm moving or animating any characters, right, let's just delete this much of area, select set key and just select this set key. Now here you will see this has become always which curve editor or which auto tangent it has created. If I need to do a change, I always go window, animation editor and graph editors. If my that is a translate Y, here you will see this has become auto. See, this become auto. But auto is not mandatory. Like if any students want to become the animator, auto is the options what we have, right? So it's always preferable when you are doing the animations, we always use the spline. So what I'll do, I do not want, whenever I'll create keyframes, it always go into the auto. Before that, we always create the spline and save. Now if I'll animate this, now it will come into a spline. Again, go to the window, animation editor. If it's not coming, we need to restart. See this, auto is the option where you can do the movement, where you can change the animations as per requirement, but it never be always be a smooth. Sometimes what happen, we are always neglecting this. So always preferable to always work before do animations into the spline. Then what else do we have in this? Assets, camera. If there are lots of times undo we are doing, so by default if you'll see this might be get on, we always have to turn off this. We do not need to do any camera transactions, because if I do not have good amount of the RAM, my scene is heavy, there are lots of animations I have in my scene. So if we do turn off this, it will take give importance to our animations. Color management, when we are using the HDRI, we need that time we need to change into the raw or sRGB. Dynamic file projects, file recent history files, it's gonna show once if you click on the file open. So 10 files is showing over here. If you want to increase more, you can click on that. File references, nothing. Modeling, node editors. Snapping, snap is not there. Time slider. Now if you'll see, if I want to change my frame rate into a 24 into the different, by default it's playing into the 24 fps. If I want to change it into different fps, I can do that. General pencil, key ticks, key size, ticks fans, nothing else over here. Yeah, playback. Now here you will see if I start and play, which my views is selected, I am only able to see that animation in my selected view panel. So I want it has to play in all views. Save, stop. Now here you will see it's playing in each and every view, right? Cool. So that is into the preferences. Undo, how much time you want to do, infinite or 200 time. See, if you are giving the infinite number, it takes more RAM, right? So we are want, because we are just doing only for 5 or 6 time undo. But for the base safer side, put it into the 25, so it's not take much more RAM. XGen, CPU cache. This is for the graphic card. Just go up, interface, modeling. Yes. Displays is really very important. Now what will happen, some of the students might have very less amount of the RAM or not good the graphic card they have installed in their computers. So they are using the little bit texture. So most of the time texture are always into the 1K in the 2K resolutions. So my machines got hang, my 5 is running very slow. So instead of that, we use 512. 512, 512. So what we'll do, still if I'm using the 2K, 4K, but in my view, I'm only able to see my color resolution 512 into 512. This is the very important. Now here you'll see we have the material the loading mode. When we see material loading node, this is the immediate, differ, and the parallel. Now when we say parallel, immediate, and differ, this is depending upon this Maya. If you'll see, this is just for the reference I'm showing you. Now previously it was like parallel way. This is the simple one process. This is the how the rendering was working, right? Because this is also depending upon the quad core. But nowadays with the new after 2016, there are more threads for the render. That's why we are getting little bit faster render in Maya 2016. That's why Maya Arnold is working little bit faster. If you see, the RTA real-time renders are working fast because they are using the core in our machine. So you have the higher core, your render time will be less, right? Okay, that was into the preferences. Now most of the time students are not using the cluster. Now what is a cluster? Cluster is used for the rigging. Cluster is a group of the vertex where we can apply, and it is depending upon your requirement. When we talk about the cluster, for an example, this is my object. So what I'll do, if I'm selecting this vertex, or if I'm using any facial animations or facial controller, so for me it is really very difficult to always select this much of area. So what we'll do, we'll make this a cluster. Cluster is a group of vertex. If I'll go to the animations, deformer, here we have the cluster, right? Where basic and advanced, I did reset and say cluster. If I'll go to my Windows outliner, here you'll see we have these clusters over here. See, this is my cluster. So I'm not selected that vertexes, but cluster. That's already attached with my cluster over here. Now, if I want to edit my cluster the same way what we are doing into for the blend shapes, we need to go to the deformers. We'll see over here we have the paint weight. We'll click on these clusters. That cluster will come. If I double click over here, see here I'm not getting a smooth movement over here. So what I'll do, I'll select the smooth. B is a maximize to maximize your brush. So here you can see I am making this a cluster a little bit more smoother, right? Cluster means group of the vertex. You can select this. Again, double click. After paint, always use flood. It's give a little bit more smoothness to our characters. If I'll move my cluster, so this is a little bit more smoother. Always use the cluster when we are doing controller or the facial animations. Cluster is really very important. Or group for the vertex we can do. If I'm making a curve for an example, if I'm go to the top view, if this is my curve over here, select the control vertices. Again, go to the animation deformer clusters. If I select my cluster and move, see my vertex is moving, right? So it's necessary to use the clusters when you are using the group of the vertex. You want to do the movement. That was into the clusters. Now in Maya, there is a new rotations mode. I guess if I'll select shift D. Now if I select shift this, shift and shift, select, see here I'm able to see these rotations. I have not created group, but if you'll see, this is my default property here. See, this is rotating on the same axis or as per my selection, but in rotation there is a new called manipulations. If I'll select over here, now I'll rotate, it's look like I'm rotating into my group vertexes. Select this, which is your last vertex, it will rotate in that way. If I'll select this way, select this, select shift and rotate over here, see this. If I want to increase and decrease my gizmo, plus minus is that. So that is the manipulations. Camera aspect ratios is really very important. So if you want to do if I'll select and select camera, if I'll go to its attribute, if I'll go down display options, if I select my film aspect ratio, if I want to change, here you'll see this is unnecessary, the bigger size. If I want to change this color, I can select and do color as per my requirement. I'll just select that colors, HSV. I'll go down overscan. This is the overscan. Make one. Here you can see this has become 1.1, 1.05 or 1.2 you can do. So this is the camera aspect ratios what you can do, how this way you can change as per your requirement. When we are using a light in our scene, I guess you already know, T, after pressing a T, we are getting the light options. Let me just create the new scene. Yeah. This is my simple object. Create light, spotlight, select, pull it up. See, if I'll move, this is going up, right? As per my transactions. If I'll press T and I'll drag this down, 6, 7. See, T is giving me a target of that light, right? Now if I'll move my light over here, by direction will be the same, so it saves my lots of time. T, press T. If I'll select this, press T. T is a shortcut key for that. Okay. Now we'll try to do a curve flow or some kind of the fluid. If I'll just create a CV curve in my scene, let's go to the top view. Press enter. See, there is a lock length we call. Go to the vertices mode. Press L. Do not leave. Here, see, my curves is little become a dynamic movement. L is there. If I release L, this is my length of lock. Length of my vertex is lost. If I press L, here you can see this is a little bit more dynamic movement I'm getting with this. Select the vertex, press L, do the movement. Now here you'll see, now there is one option is called the curve flow. I'll select, drag it, drop down, pull this side. I'll pull this little bit more down. Vertex move. Scale a little bit. There is one option is called the curve flow. So I'll go to my FX options, effect, flow, create curve flow. Default property, I'm not changing anything. What will do, it create a curve plus the flow of my particle. Here you can see my particle is flowing as per requirement. So you can use this for the group animations movement like the fish, moth, butterflies. This, if the fish is flying from passing through the one pipe, that you can do. Select the objects, select the circle you have. If I do maximize of this view, what will happen, particle become a little bit more faster in this particular area and it will divide it. Here you can see slower than fast. So that is the depending upon your requirement. Now what I'll do, I want to use, instead of this particle, instead of this small dot or text, I want to use any objects, right? So what I'll do, I'll create a helix. No, helix will be a little bit more, and say let's create a gear. Okay, so what I want, instead of this particle, I want my gear has to be come out from this. I'll select my object and plus select my particle system and particle instancer, or I'll just select my object particle instancer option box. In this, here you can see I have only one particle in my systems. I'll just click over here and say particle shape. It automatically will select. Allow data type always be on. If I'll say reset, this is by default. You want your animation need to look cycle? Yes. Sequential, it has to look sequence wise. Allow data type on, because when we do turn on, we are getting a much more options. In direction always be into the velocity if you are using any object or bird or the fish. Cycle start will say particle ID. Particle ID. Cycle start my particle ID and say create. Now here you will see my object is coming from that particular object, right? Now what I want once my particle enter in this area, there has to be the smoke, right? Okay, so what I'll do, I'll create fluid 3D container. By default, add emitter is on, turn that off and create emitter. Here you can see my emitter has to become where my particle is passing through, right? So I'll put this over here. If I play, now there are no emissions because my emitter is off. There are no emit from the object I've given. So what I'll do, I'll select my object, select this particle, fluid, emit from object. First we create emitter, then now emit from the object, click over here, edit, reset. It has to be the omni, it will be any directions, apply and close. If I start and play, here you'll see there are no movement. Once my particle get enter this fluid, only will fluid will start to emit. So let's change these positions a little bit more up, or you want to make a little bit variations, or it has to start from the beginning of my particle. Simple, select a meter, fluid emitter, fluid shape 1, go over here. We have auto size, select auto size on. Now what we'll do, it start to emit where my particle is coming. See this? Now if I want to do change of my particle shapes or the rotation, I'll select my main particles or objects which I'll try to reduce and increase the scale. Select this, right? Now if I want to make a fire object, so I need to do that setting. Here you can see this size is getting over here. I'll try to increase this frame. See this? So this kind of the movement we can do, just try to, we can do the fire movement as well for this. There are the different settings we need to do that. Now we'll try to see a little bit the mesh editor. Now mesh is really very important for do that. But before that, we'll understand for the rigging, like if I've created a rigging for my leg and I want my hip to move automatically if I'll move my left leg control or the right leg control. So I'll create first this circle. This is just my shape over here. I'll just select this, pull it over here, select the object D. It has to come here as well, my curve. Select, press X, polygon, delete history, modification, center pivot against this cam D. Let's move this, snap to curve you can do. If this is my right leg control, right? Sorry. Right leg underscore C capital. Right? I'll make duplicate of this, drag shift, rotate E, right click, discrete rotate. E, right click, discrete rotate. That means I'm only getting 0, 50, 30 that way. Right? Again, delete history, this, and this will be my left leg control. All right, this is a just move. Again, select over here. Now I'll create center control for my pelvis. I'll change vertex something, scale it little bit here and just do scale this way. Again, go to the pole, delete history, center, and this will be the main controller, CTRL. Now what I'll do, or what I required, once I'll move this, this has to move half of this, right? So normally we use these simple expressions in our scene. I'll select all this, or window, animation, rendering editor, hypershade. I need to bring this to my hypershade, select that, put input graph. It is not coming, then click on this and arrow, so we'll get the node of that. Left leg control, right leg control is here. See, here we are not getting the full option, then select, press 3. We are getting every transform attributes in our hypershade. So here what I'll do, I need to add utilities. If we'll go to the Maya utilities, there are some utilities which we are using for the rigging. Here we'll use the plus and the minus utility, drag and drop, or just click on that. Then after we'll use multiple divide utility, that will become over here. Now what I want, in plus minus average, I'll create a node connection. My right leg control will go inside this plus minus node. My left leg control translate property will go input 0. 3D, because we are moving that into a 3D. That's why we connected this automatically. After creating one node, below node automatically will come. Now in multiple divide, if I do control A, here we'll use divide. So my output 3D will go my input 1. Here you can see this is node is locked now. My input 2, I'll give the value. If this is my 3, my Y will be my 6 and my 3 will be this. So now what I have given, plus minus average, that means if my character move into a 3D as well as my parallel second controller move, my divide, multiple divide will go to work. Now how it gonna work? Multiple divide will connect translate 1. So drag from the middle mouse, drag and drop to the translate 1. Now we'll see that if I'll move my this left leg, my central controller is also moving. If I try to pull, see it's moving. If I select, that is also moving, right? If I select this, pull up, select this, pull up, select both of them, then pull up, correct? So this we can use for the rigging or for the animations. Very simple but very effective. My right leg translate will go to plus minus input 0, left leg control input 1, output 3D will go to my multi-divide input 1 and my input 2 will be different. If I'll move 4, then it has to be 8. This will be the 4. Now if my open just my, I'm so sorry, minimize this. If I'll move this, see I'm getting a little bit more properties over here. Select this. I'll make this to a 0. It's like that. I hope you understood this, but this is very useful and dynamic way we can create this. Now there is a one we call the mesh editor. Mesh editor is dynamic animations we can do very easily. Like if I want to do kind of the the Mandela kind of effect, so I'll go to my character map. In my character map, this is by default installed in everyone's machines. If I'll see the wingdings, or if I want to do I am using double click on this, select, copy, go to the type, create type, I'll select and paste. My format will be the wingdings or fonts which I've used, seen or into the character map. Wingdings 2 or wingdings 3. See, I've got that. I'll select and try to rotate that. If you need to decrease your font size, click on this. If you need to extrude, you need to do a little bit lower extrude of this. This is done. Select assign to the new material, give this to a Lambert, select and give any orange kind of the shades material to this. Now here I will create something called Felix soccer ball is there. Let's create this. Right click, vertex, select this, press B, drag and drop. press B and give this little bit more size of this. Use this torso, just pull it over here. Go to its attribute. Bring this to down. Section radius. If you reduce the radius, this is going very fast. I need to reduce that. Section radius, select, twist. Now here we'll give a little bit more this size. Scale it big. Depending upon the selections which are you doing now. Select everyone. Polygon, mesh, combine. So this will become a 1 over here. I'll go to the FX, mesh, create mesh network. So here we want to do circular and say create. Now if you see in the perspective, it has created this circular, right? But I'll select the disk, mesh, because I'm losing that shape. I'll use instance create. If I'm not using the instance, this object or this curvature is not coming proper. I'll select my first mesh and delete. Select second mesh, go to distribute. How much numbers you want, just try to reduce or increase as per your requirement. Radial you want, linear, this will come in one line. Spherical, this kind of the sphere will come. Mesh you want to apply on your object. Grid, right, that is depending. We are using the radial, but we use ZX. Now if you see the ZX, so this has become something like this. So I'll select my point and try to rotate it. Right here you see very nice Mandela kind of the effects we have created over here. If you want to do the movement or animations, you can easily will do that. Again, you select the polydisk, create mesh, select, create the new mesh over here, give the attributes, radial, YZ, radius, you can increase this radius. You can do this animation as well. So like for the motions graphics, you can do Z offset you want to make it into a 3D. Circular rotations, you want to see this. So this is with a simple process you can apply it. Let's use the audio. This is already must be you have seen, but this is fantastic options what we have. Let's select this object, rotate it, select the vertex, B, press off, mesh, separate, select the face, separate. Oh, it is not good. Reduce, combine, separate. Detach is not work. Select, mesh, separate. Let's see this vertex. No problem. Let's see this again. Object mode. Mesh display controls. Mesh, turn on this. Detach, reduce, reshape, confirm, separate. Select this face. Edit mesh, detach. Yes, this has become detached now. Now what we'll do, we have this separated now. We'll make group of this object, right? So, oh, this is not get separated again. Face separated. Now if I'll plane this again, just let me just check it's okay. detach. Let's go into the vertex. This time use those, detach. Oh, and this time we use face, mesh, separate. This each and every face, yes, this each and every face gets separated. I'll select the vertices or the face, put the wireframe on, because in this time we are using audio into a mesh. I'll select this, otherwise what will happen, that gizmo was, I'm selecting into a radius y, this radial way. Depending upon the vice versa, you can select. Now why I'm using this randomly, because we want this has to come separately. My audio will come in this, make a group. I'll select this, the group faces which I've created, and modify big pivot. Now why big pivot? All of my pivot will come on the same place of my alug faces. Select this object. Now we'll do the rename, because here you'll see we have the poly face surface name. Select. I'll go over here. Absolute transform is by default. Rename. We'll use audio. Now you'll see this automatically become the audio over here. Select your object. Go to the effects. Mesh. Linear. Edit. Reset. This is the linear. Apply. Close. Here you will see this everything is come into the one. This is still calculating. So I do not want it has to come on the same. So when we go to the distribute in linear, we'll say initial state. So by default, it was only one on that area. This time I will add particle ID. So what was my previous shape and my object is came. Even I can do extrude to my object. If I want to do that, I'll select my mesh, go to the audio, create audio. It will ask me for the file name in maya.wav file is gonna work. This which I have already won. If you start and play, here you can see this is moving, right? Now if I want to import audio in my timeline file, import, click over here. I need to select the audio in my file type, import the same audio. Here you can see I'll able to see, make this into 700, start, stop and play. So if I want to do the motions graphics, I can do that. But I'm not happy with the direction which is going. So if I select my audio over there, now we will do the scale. Here it is a scale X, Y. I'll put it into the Y. Now start and play. Go to the first frame. Scale Y. Start and play. Scale Z if I want to add. Start and play. So there we have not extruded. That's why it's gonna look like this. Plus we can give, this is a maximum band, how many copy we have in our C. So we have nearby 100, maximum band will be 100. I'll just start and play over here. So that band will be the 100 here. So my most of the bands are there. Strength, I'll make this into 10. This will go, see that much close. Let's reduce into a 10. Make it 2, make it 1, make it 0.2. See, This is a kind of the, the motion graphics movement I can do. I can use the any shapes to my object, right? Now we'll see something in new features which we have into the content browser window, journal editor, content browser. If I'll see any motions graphics of the FBX, here you can see this is already. If I double click on that, automatically the rig set is created in my scene. Let me check this if my Mayas is working. Render, cancel. Nothing is rendering, right? If you see this is the rig character which we have in our character. See this? It's got jump. This is the like motions captures we have already in Maya scene. If I'm using a journal editor, different journal editor, content browser, attack position, double click on this. Now this is the motions data what we have in content browser. Now I want to apply this to my other characters. Plus I want to do a quick set of quick rig, which is a new features into a Maya. See, this is into my attack positions. So what I'll do, I'll open my scene over here in which I have just only have the characters only model. Yeah, this is my model over here. Now this is my model over here. There is a new feature in rigging which we call skeleton quick rig. So it will automatically will create, one click say auto rig, it will automatically create controllers and rig to my character. After created, if I want to do some modifications of my, here you can see I can do the movement of my characters. This my shading is into the X-ray, right? See, this is the simple. Select your character, right? There are some skin error which we need to do that. Select this plus, see, simple. Now if I select this, here you can see my rig control is got selected. If I want to change this controller, click over here, edit control rig, rig lock, wire lock, box, you want see this come into the box. Click over here, edit rig controller, rig lock, you want into a stick. Rig log, edit rig log, you want into a wire, so this come into the wire. But very easily we can create as per our requirement. Here you can see everything is a proper, you can see this X marks over here, the check marks, right? Now if I want to use any motions capture data which already there, for an example smash, I'll first bring that scene from content browser into my Maya screen. Here you'll see it take a little bit time because the resolutions and the definitions that is too much high. If I select this, here you can say start and play. If I want to apply that animations which are already there in my this skeleton over here, so character quick rig set to 1 which is already there. Source we can use, this is we call the quick rig smash references. So I'll just select source smash 1. Now I'll stop and play. Here you can see that movement is applied to my character. See this? Still I already told you we need to do the skinning, but here we can see the movement. If I'll say show, and if I do not want to see the joints, this is a simple movement and animation that we can see from our characters and the quick rig set. right? Here you can see it is really very simple. That's options available into the content browsers.